So today's topic is eggs. So I'm not going to get in too much of the folklore of eggs because there are many different traditions that have some kind of story about something emerging from an egg, whether it be, you know, everything or humans or a specific god or a bunch of gods. There's lots of origin stories that relate to the egg. And that's, totally tradition dependent. So I'm not really going to get into that too much, but rather the practical magical uses of an egg, as well as some practical kitchen tips. Now, an egg is, honestly, I could probably do any kind of spell you could possibly think of with an egg. And I don't need anything else, really. A few household kitchen items and an egg. It's very basic, it's food. And the essence of kitchen witchery is cooking your magic, right? And an egg really lends itself well to that because an egg is alive, sort of. It's basically a really big cell. Um, and so there's a lot of ways you can utilize the living energy sort of an egg. It's a single cell, so it's much easier to alter the energy of a single cell than it is to alter the energy of a multicellular organism. Of course, it's small, so you're not. So the first thing you can do with an egg, as I mentioned, is you can pray over it or visualize over it or otherwise raise energy and send your energy into the egg. And then um, you can use a crayon and draw on the egg, or you can dye it a complementary color. So if you want to heal someone, I believe that green is a healing color. Other traditions are different, and that's fine. So I might color it green. I might create a sigil uh, for my intention that this person be healthy, and draw it on the egg, or I just might write the word healing on the egg and then pray over it, or visualize over it and send my energy into it. Then you can boil the egg, or it could already be boiled while you're doing all that. Although I think that you should charge it before you boil it, because once you boil it, it's really not alive anymore. So you want to charge it, then you cook it. After you boil it, you can peel it, and then you can actually use a toothpick to carve your, or your FMA if you like, to carve your sigil into the egg, and that's fine too. And then you eat it or you feed it to somebody. And eggs are just wonderful at absorbing that energy so that you can take it into your body. It is also good at absorbing energy you don't want, so you can throw it away. And that is the idea behind egg cleansings. I'm holding a duck egg just because they're stronger and they are bigger and they feel better in my hand. But I don't actually use duck eggs for magic. I eat them. They're delicious. I use the chicken eggs for magic. I also eat them. They're delicious. The duck eggs are wonderful for baking, but we can get into the difference of duck eggs and chicken eggs another time. So I have a chicken egg here. This is probably actually Penelope's egg, but um, and the egg cleansing is very popular in South American magical traditions. Um, Bruja, Carandismo, I am not one of those. It's also used in like Appalachian conjure and hoodoo. But there's really big variations on how it's done. One method is if somebody is experiencing a sickness or a just negative energy, possibly a curse or a psychic attack, is you take the egg and you place it under the bed overnight. And there's various ways of doing it. You can do it for several days, switch out the eggs, multiple eggs. There's lots of different ways that they do it. You should consult your own tradition on that. Another thing is for a room is to place an egg in the four corners of the room, and then the egg will absorb the negative energy. You want to charge the egg before you do that. To pray over it, tell it to absorb the negative energy so that it knows what it's supposed to do. Then the egg cleansing that I like to do involves just passing the egg through your aura. And then you would go from the top of the head, all around the head, down the head, arms, hands, and I can actually like feel the energy exchange happening right now. Um, and it's a little awkward, and I'm not going to complete this on camera because it's strange. But so that is going to absorb your energy, the negative energy, if you tell it to. And then you can crack the egg into a cup of water, a glass of water, a glass. Some people use a bowl and they look down, but I like to use a glass and I look straight on it. And this is the glass that I use. It is the only glass that I have that doesn't have stuff all over it. So that's the one I use. And I'm going to crack this egg, and this is going to be interesting. Whenever I do this for somebody, I let them choose the egg. And the reason I do that is because I know my birds and I know who is more likely to lay a double yolked egg and who is more likely to lay an egg with blood spots on it and who is more likely to have been sitting on that egg and having things going on and who's been with the rooster. So the fact that I know the different things that could be going on with these eggs before they're cracked is, I feel, kind of like possibly impeding an accurate reading. So I always let the other person choose the egg. And then we just crack the egg. Let me see if I can adjust the camera here. There's my, just going to crack this egg. And I drop it in there. All right. And we're just going to let this sit for a minute. And then we'll look at it and see what's going on here. We got to let it settle. So I'm just going to put that up there. And we're going to talk about this eggshell right here. So eggshells are extremely protective, even though they're porous. They actually protect life as it grows from a cell into a fully grown creature, well, an infant creature that is capable of running around, feeding itself, eating, drinking. They're not good at maintaining their body temperature, so they need to be kept warm. But other than that, they're pretty self-sufficient. So an egg is the eggshell is just a remarkable, symbolic, magical thing, and so I save them, and I use them to make a protective powder called cascarilla. So what I do to prepare them is after I crack my egg, I put it in a bowl of water, and I also do this with the duck eggs, even though I don't use duck eggs to make my cascarilla, because I use my duck eggs in the garden. But I'll show you what we do. So if you look at this egg, and you just kind of grab a corner here, I put it in there, I just rinse it around, swish it around a little bit, and there's a little membrane. I don't know, can you see? It's a little membrane right here. And if you're gentle, you can kind of pull the whole thing out in one piece. The reason I take that membrane out is because I want to make a nice soft powder that I can put on my body, and the membrane kind of interferes. I'll show you because I don't take the membrane out for the ducks, and so that it doesn't crush up as well. See, because the membrane kind of holds the eggshell together. See this? So I didn't get it all out in one piece, so I got eggshells attached to it. There we go. There's the rest of the membrane. There you go. And I'm just going to put this in here with my bowl of eggshells from before. Now, after I do this, I just kind of like let them hang out for a while. They dry. They don't smell or anything because they're clean. I got the membrane out. I got hair in here. And so there's nothing in there that's going to rot and smell because the membrane's out. The little bit of egg white that was on there got rinsed off. So they're just going to sit here and they're going to dry out and hang out for a little while. When I'm ready to start making my cascarilla, when I have a bunch, I put them on a baking pan, which I have one in the oven, but I have cooled it down. And you will see that these are duck eggs. The little membranes are still in there. But the nice thing, see the little membranes in there still. But so I put them in a baking pan. And I bake them. And it really doesn't matter, like as long as it's over about 200 degrees. See, I just stick them in there when I'm preheating the oven for something else. And they get all nice and crispy. And the nice thing about this is they're super, oh, you can't even see. They get all brittle. See, they're nice and brittle. Now, I like that because I'm about to grind them up into a powder. You see, this is powder. This is duck eggs for the most part. There's chicken eggs in here too. You can tell by the color. But this is not cascarilla. This is stuff that I'm going to use in the garden. But you grind them up into a powder, and then you can pretty much store this indefinitely. You can, this stuff you sprinkle around your plants on your garden to keep the slugs away. And also it's calcium. It's basically just calcium. So, you know, it rains, it breaks down, it gives calcium to your garden. And if I don't have time to crunch it all up right away, I will just go ahead. And I'm going to do that with these duck eggs right here. See, I'm just going to break them. And you kind of got to be careful. I probably shouldn't be doing it this way. I'm just doing it with my hands. They're sharp. They'll cut you, especially if the membrane has been removed. See, with the membrane, you see this still has a membrane on it, so you can pull it apart easier. This one has a membrane removed, so boom, just like that. If I can't crush them up right, if I can't grind them up right away, I put them in here. And yeah, so we're just using the mulch in the garden. Now over here, I have, I'm going to get these out of here so I can show you. I have, this jar is marked chicken eggs. So these are what I'm going to use for cascarilla. These are already baked. There's no smell to it. Very clean. So you got to put them in your grinder and grind. When I'm doing this for my duck eggs, which are going in the garden, I just use the coffee grinder that I use for my herbs. I have a little electric coffee grinder. But when you're doing that, you have to be careful because it makes all kinds of dust. All this dust comes up in the air, and it's like, you don't want to breathe it in. So you want to have ventilation. And you want to, when you're grinding it, you want to kind of stand back because the dust just like, but we do not have a problem when we're using a mortar and pestle. So I find it best to just kind of make a circular motion. So with the mortar and pestle, we just make a circular motion, and I'm going counterclockwise because this is protective, defensive, banishing magic here. This cascarilla, which you will see soon, is going to be nice soft powder. You will any kind of protection magic, really. It creates a barrier to negative energy and spirits. You can put it on your windowsills, across your door jambs to keep people with bad intent from coming in. And I'm talking about my intentions for this spell while I'm mixing it. You can come up with a little chant, and you can, or you could just visualize it. Visualize the protective nature of the eggshell. Visualize it circling and encompassing whoever you put it on to protect them. And then you can go ahead. See, now I have this wonderful soft powder. Can I make it so you can see that? I don't know. There you go. Wonderful soft powder. All mixed up in my mortar and pestle. And this is the jar that I keep my cascarilla in. And I also like to, when I'm going out, I put it on my hands so that I don't pick up negative energies from things that I touch. It is best, I believe, to, if you're applying it to your body, to apply it after you've done your work to get rid of whatever is clinging to you, whatever you've got going on. So you want to do your uncrossing, whatever. And then you can apply the cascarilla to keep it from coming back, to like as a seal to keep things out. Now there's traditional South American healers have other methods of preparing this. Christian prayers are often used. Psalms are often used for the preparation of this sort of thing, of anything really. And also in Hoodoo, Christian prayers would be used. Psalms. Again, you want to consult your own tradition on how you're going to do this. But basically, you want to focus on the purpose of, the product while you're mixing it. And it's very easy to make. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful magical ingredient that I use all the time. But you can see how little powder you're getting from the eggs that you're putting in. It takes a lot of eggs to make some cascarilla. When you buy it, you get it in like a little ketchup packet. Often, not always, I suppose, but usually I see it in like a little ketchup packet, which is compressed. And you can compress that and use it like chalk also. So you can, draw protective symbols or draw protective circles around things. It's just protection. This is about creating a shield of protection from anything, any spirit or person. People are spirits, spirits are people. So like anybody that wants to, that has negative intentions or unfriendly intentions or not good intentions for you. I've heard it said that no spirit can cross a line of cascarilla. So I do use caution when I'm using it because I don't want to surround my entire property with a circle that a spirit cannot cross because we have all kinds of spirits happening on this property and it's like a whole ecosystem going on and we don't want to do that. We want to be friends as much as we can. So I don't know if anybody has any more questions about the cascadia and how you use it, how you make it. Just let me know. We've got bubbles on the top that indicate that somebody is watching me. I hope so. um, and then we have these little lines at the bottom with bubbles on the top that indicate that I have spirit creatures, angels or guardian spirits or spirit guides or something that are guiding my steps. I do not see any blood spots or, and the egg is on the bottom. That's good. That means that I am not currently being hexed. If the egg is floating in the middle, that's a sign that you have a spell on you, a hex on you. If it's floating on the top, that means that you have like you're actively being hexed right now. If you have any kind of blood or blood spots, that means you should check with a doctor. The bloodier, the more urgent. If you have like these spikes coming up that are between the surface of the water and the yolk, then you've got those represent obstacles for you. Um, but I have these little spikes coming up here, but they don't look like obstacles to me. They just kind of look like guidance to me. Okay, if you got a lot of cloudiness, that indicates like heavy energy, depression, negative, like possibly something negative attached to the person that's like clouding their perception and making them feel unwell or unhappy. There are many ways to interpret an egg, actually. I'm not by no means an expert. Let's see what else we got here. Do we have? I do not see any animals or faces or letters. Sometimes you can see a face, and that indicates that's like the face of the person that's casting a spell on you, or there's also the evil eye. If you've got a big bubble on top, which my bubble pop is gone. I moved it around too much, I guess. With a lot of cloudiness and that indicates that could indicate that someone has the evil eye on you. The evil eye isn't a spell as such. It is, but it's not the type of spell that someone consciously casts necessarily. Generally, if you have the evil eye, usually it is because somebody feels jealous of you or slighted by you or thinks you don't deserve what you have or thinks they deserve what you have. And that energy of that thought has created a curse that's on you now. Many people do not know that they have a strong gaze like that. Some people do, and they use it. Now, I've seen other methods that involve putting in a bowl and looking at from the top. I really don't see much from the top. So, again, defer to your tradition and your instinct. If you're learning about this and you're learning about different methods, choose the method that makes sense to you. And there's going to be a lot of different people saying what this means and what that means, different interpretations of the same thing. Interpret according to what feels right to you. I mean, I know that for some traditions it's like, no, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And that's true to a certain degree. But I also believe that inside each of us is a compass that says, hey, no, that's not right. So, you know, you're going to do what your compass tells you. You do not eat this egg. You throw this egg away. I have an old oak tree in the back and I give the oak tree all this stuff that I use. Provided it's safe for the environment, and I try to make a point to make sure that what I use is indeed safe for the environment. Um, that's another reason why eggs are such amazing magical tools, because they're completely safe for the environment and for people, unless they have allergies to eggs. Eggs can also be used for hexing. So for aggressive spells, I always prefer chicken eggs. Very simply, um, a banishing spell. You want someone to move out of a house? Throw an egg over the roof. Just stand in their front and throw the egg so that it goes. I mean, don't be seen. They'll think you're weird, but they'll move. A general bad luck spell. Um, Smash an egg against on somebody's front porch or against their door. Oh, breakups. A sour jar. And again, jar spells is going to be a whole nother video, but you can take an egg, any egg, really. Um, Again, the chicken eggs break easier. So if you're going to smash it, you want to use a chicken eggs. The duck eggs don't smash as well. But any egg that you're going to do smashing, you want to use a chicken egg. But you can do a breakup spell by writing one name on one side, one name on the other side, then stick it in a sour jar and shake the sour jar until the egg breaks, and then bury it. And bury it well, because that will get all gassy and explode. So you want it to be underground when it does that. Or you could dump it at a crossroads. That's good too. Or the base of your oak tree. Or dump it into running water to make them go away. That is also good. So yeah, the possibilities with eggs, with magic, are endless. And I know that there's a whole section on eggs in Scott Cunningham's Wicca in the Kitchen book. So if you're interested in reading that, check that out. I'll put that in the comments. And again, if you want to help me get a video camera so I can make better videos, and so I can make videos outside the house, because I'm like tied to my Wi-Fi here. Click on the link. If you're going to buy it anyway, use that link to buy it so that I get a few dollars or pennies or whatever I get. And I'm hungry, so I'm about to make me some scrambled eggs. You have a wonderful day.